Welcome back, Doom Tours, to the new digs. Here is the new game room, Doom Lab version 2.0. It's rather a mess right now, so I won't do like a game room tour or anything like that. But it's coming to the end of March here, and yeah, so time to do the quarterly wrap up, which I'm pretty happy about. I'm pretty happy with the games that I beat. I'll say though, this quarter has been interesting because last year at around this time, in the winter, the first few months of the year, I spent a lot more time gaming, I guess, because I beat a considerable amount more games. I think I beat like 19 or 20 games from the first of the year to the end of March. Today's just the 28th still, but I'm probably not going to beat anything in the next few days. And if I do, oh well, it doesn't matter that much. Yeah. So, I beat 10 games, and that's about it. And four of them actually, are really like kind of the same thing, and yeah, I should really just lump them all together because I've been playing them a lot, and it's hard to really like call them beaten or not beaten. And those fighting games, and so yeah, I'll get to those when we get to the bottom of the list here. So yeah, 10 games, and I did pick my top 3 already. Normally I kind of wait to do this, pick the top 3 until the end of the video, but I figured, what the heck, I'll just go ahead and pick them, and then I can grab the cases off the shelf or whatever. So that's what I did. So the first game I beat this year was Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance on the 360. I spent most of the time playing this game actually in December, but just finished it. And it really was only 2 or 3 sessions with that game, but I liked it a lot. It's my first kind of foray into the Metal Gear universe. So I didn't know really a whole lot of what was going on, and it's kind of an over-the-top series anyway, but I have to think that this Revengeance was even more so over the top, but it was a lot of fun. Love a good hack and slash game, and it still had some cool mechanics to it. But the final boss, oh my god, it's a biatch. The second game I beat was Singularity on the PlayStation 3. This was a really fun first-person shooter that reminded me a lot of what I had experienced in BioShock. And it's just some good first-person shooter fun. Lots of enemies, cool weapons, and some cool play mechanics. With the time manipulation device and things like that. So it had some really cool mechanics, and I liked it a lot. And it inspired me to go back and revisit BioShock, which is actually the very next game that I beat. BioShock was the third game, also on the PlayStation 3. And I love that game. I didn't enjoy it the first time that I played, and I played probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours anyway. I really can't say. It felt like that, and it felt like longer because I wasn't enjoying it. But I kind of approached it all wrong, and at the time when I had started playing it the first time, I just wasn't really in the mindset for that type of a game. I was more in for like a standard first-person shooter, and less of a kind of an adventure experience that was BioShock. And it did deserve a lot more attention on my part the first time, but whatever. I mean, I went back to it, restarted it, and loved every minute of it. It was fantastic, and I really want to start BioShock 2. I should have actually grabbed that to put into my stack for the next one. But just know that I would like to play BioShock 2 within the next few months, especially because Infinite, I have it on PS Plus right now. It was free on PS Plus, and also the DLC, the Burial at Sea DLC, second chapter, second and final part. has come out now, and I've heard that it's pretty good. So I'd like to download those two DLCs and experience Infinite. But I really want to play Bioshock 2 first. Next game, number 4, game beaten in 2014 thus far, is Plants vs. Zombies on the PlayStation 3. Not a lot of talking necessary with Plants vs. Zombies. You kind of know what you're getting into. If you know anything about the game anyway. It's a tower defense game. You play as a farmer, I guess, protecting your, not a farmer, but just a homeowner protecting your home from invading zombies by planting these magic plants that can shoot peas and eat zombies and things like that. So it's a very fun game. Number 5, Warhammer 40k Space Marine on the 360. This game is kind of good and bad for me. While I really enjoyed getting into the game, and a lot of the gameplay mechanics were really awesome, and I liked the third-person shooter, and it felt like what I had played of Gears of War. I haven't played, very much of the Gears series, but it felt like that. But it felt a little bit slower and a little bit clunkier. But I still really enjoyed the combination of third-person shooting and also the kind of hack-and-slash melee abilities that you were able to have. I really enjoyed that part of it, but all in all, I would say that it's not my favorite game, but I did really like it, and I'm glad that I finally finished it, because it was kind of one of those games that was kind of looming over my head because I hadn't finished it, and because I had gotten stuck on a part where I just couldn't beat it, but went back several months later and kind of took my time with it and powered through, and I enjoyed it. It's a shame there's not a sequel, actually, because the story I found to be pretty good. I know that a lot of reviews will tell you that it's not that great, but I don't know. I kind of liked it. It was my first anything into the Warhammer 40k series too, and it kind of inspired me to maybe want to kind of explore a little bit of like the novels and possibly the tabletop stuff, even though that stuff's crazy expensive, and my wife would hate me for it. Number 6, Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds on the 3DS. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant game. I had so much fun with that game. It started off kind of slow for me. I wasn't sure that I was, really into it at first, but and I really don't know why. Other than I just wasn't. There was no real reason. But then I just got addicted. I got hooked, and it was just so many things to do in the game, and just so many places to explore, and yeah, it was just really great. I enjoyed it a lot. And then the next 4 games, number 7, 8, 9, and 10. All Street Fighter games. Street Fighter Alpha Warrior's Dream on the PlayStation, Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition on the PlayStation 3, Super Street Fighter 2 on the SNES, and Super Street Fighter 3D Edition on the 3DS. And what I'm considering these games beaten because I've put a lot of time into all of them, and I've cleared the arcade mode on all of them on several difficulties, and yeah, that's all I can really say. I mean, I guess they're not complete because I haven't beaten them all on the hardest difficulty with every single character or something like that, but that's a little outrageous for a fighting game. Some people do it, and that's cool. I don't plan on beating all characters on the hardest difficulty. I mean, I'd like to play all the characters, or arcade mode for all the characters, because there is like little animated cutscenes interspersed. When you pick a character and you start arcade mode, when you end arcade mode, it plays these cutscenes that kind of give a little bit of story to the character. So that's cool. It's kind of a cool experience, and I'm having fun playing with a lot of the different characters. I'm mainly talking about Street Fighter 4 here. Street Fighter 4 on both PlayStation 3 and the 3DS, because I am playing both of them. Because the gameplay style is pretty much identical. But it's a lot of fun to kind of play through the arcade mode with different characters, so you get an opportunity to play as people you wouldn't normally play as, and kind of get out of your comfort zone a little bit as far as like your playing style, and play with a character that you wouldn't normally play with. For instance, tonight I just played with Dalsum. He's one of my most hated characters as a child playing Super Street Fighter 2 with Haas, and it was just, I hated Dhalsim so much. But it was really a different experience to actually play through the arcade mode. I didn't actually beat it with him because I got frustrated and I just stopped. Because one of the things about Dhalsim is, like, if you've played Street Fighter 4, you know that he's really kind of slow. I mean, he has these really strong attacks and, like, ranged attacks, you know, because he can punch clear across the screen and kick clear across the screen and stuff. But he's really slow compared to, you know, almost everyone. Yeah, so and the challenge mode also, there's like a challenge trial mode where you get to pick a character and go through, and it basically forces you to kind of learn the moves and pull them off to advance to the next stage in the trial, and also it, you know, goes through combos and things like that. So it's a really cool. It's a tool, but it's also, you know, a fun little thing to experience different characters. And then once you go through the trial mode, at least partially, because I've never actually completed all the trial modes or all the trial stages for any of the characters. But, you know, practice up a little bit with a character, you know, in the trial mode or in the training mode, and then just go blast through the arcade mode with a new character. So it's a lot of fun, and needless to say, I've spent a lot of time playing Street Fighter within the last few months, and then of course our latest AGP game night was a Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition playthrough, or not playthrough, you know, but Battle Royale, I guess, whatever you want to call it. So that's about it. 10 games, quality over quantity for the last 3 months, and of course I did pick a top 3, and 2 of them were pretty definite choices, and one of them, I don't know, because it feels weird to pick a fighting game as my game of the year, you know, or a game of the month, whatever. So I didn't pick Street Fighter 4, but I really thought about it. So we'll go ahead here. The first one I picked was Singularity for the PlayStation 3. Just got done talking about that, so I don't need to go into any more detail about that. But I did really love this game, and it was kind of hard, other than the fighting game, to not pick Street Fighter 4. The other one I was kind of tossing around was Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, and I wasn't sure which one I liked more, but I think I put more time into Singularity than Metal Gear Rising, so that's kind of why Singularity edged it out. But yeah, they're both really solid games. And then the last two, of course, BioShock, without a doubt. This is still a strong contender for Game of the Year for me. You know, that I played this year. And then, of course, Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds. Those are the top 3 games of 2014 so far, first quarter of 2014. So those are 3 pretty solid selections. So if you haven't played any of those games, I strongly recommend these 2. And then if you want to, this one, because I really liked it, but it does have its flaws. It's not a perfect game by any means, but it is a pretty fun first-person shooter, especially if you can get into BioShock. I think that you'll find a lot of redeeming qualities in Singularity. Okay, next, of course, we also have the second part of this video, which would be to talk about a couple of games that I'm playing, and also games that I'm looking forward to playing in the next quarter. And this time I went a little bit more modest, I guess you'd say. I just picked 4 games. I think I picked like 6 or 8 last time, and I think I can't remember. I should go back and watch that video and actually see how many of the games that I picked I actually beat, because I can't remember. I think Link Between Worlds was one of them, and I think BioShock was one of them. But I can't remember. I don't know. It doesn't matter that much. But the next 4 games, 2 of them that I'm pretty intense on right now, and then one of them that I also started yesterday to kind of break up the other two a little bit, and then one more just random pick because I really should play this game. So the first one, of course, it's no secret that I did start Etrian Odyssey 4. I had thought about throwing up a kind of a first impressions video on this game, and I even recorded one. It was like 10 minutes long. It was alright. It was an okay video, but I just decided, I'm not going to bother with it. I love the game. There was no question about that. It is just amazing. It's actually kind of baffling how much more there is to do in this game as opposed to Untold. Now, I'm not sure if that's just my imagination or if there truly is like a ton more to do in this game. Primarily, I mean, even just the skyship exploration alone gives this game a lot more to it, and it also gives you the opportunity for a lot more of the side quests. And I will say that I just entered the third land, which is, I think it's called the Sacred Mountains. It's where the snow is and stuff. I've explored pretty much all I can of the third land, the Sacred Mountains thus far, and I found several of the cave entrances and things like that. And it's proving to be a little bit more confusing than what I'm used to. So I'm taking my time, of course, with the game. I've put about close to 20 hours into it so far, and like I said, I just finished the second land and entered the third, and getting ready to start kind of plowing through the caves, or I guess you call it caves, and the labyrinth also, the standard stratum is what they're referred to in other games in the series. So yeah, needless to say, Etrian Odyssey 4, Legends of the Titan, brilliant game so far, and loving it, loving it, loving it. Next up is a spoiler for my next pickup video. No secret, my favorite Final Fantasy game is Final Fantasy X, and it's definitely one of my top 5 RPGs, period. And I did pick up the Final Fantasy X and X-2 HD remaster. I've been bold in the past and said that I hate X-2, but if I'm being honest, I didn't really put that much time into it. I started the game and, I don't know, got maybe a couple hours in, and I just really wasn't feeling it. I just put it down and never went back to it. But this is kind of, it feels like an incentive to play this game, because, of course, for $40 is what I paid for this, the standard edition, nothing fancy. You get the brilliance that is Final Fantasy X, and then also it includes some other content that wasn't on the original Final Fantasy X, called the Eternal Calm. I don't know what it is yet. I haven't played it yet. I don't know if it's like additional gameplay or if it's just like an extended cutscene, or I don't know what it is. But I don't want to play it yet. See what it is just yet, because I am playing through Final Fantasy X again. It's been a few years since I played it, and then I'm pretty sure the last time I played it, actually, I kind of quit at the Calm Lands, and I didn't get really that far. I mean, that seems like a long way if you've played the game before. I mean, that's probably 20 plus hours away. 20 plus hours into the game, but yeah, I just never went back, and I'm not sure why. But I am about 19 hours in right now, 18, 19 hours, something like that, close to 20. I am in the Macalania Temple. No spoilers, of course. I won't tell you, if you haven't played the game, I won't tell you what goes on at the Macalania Temple, but I am there, and yeah, it's just as brilliant as I remember. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and if I'm being, once again, I think I've said this a lot. If I'm being honest, I don't notice that much of the HD parts of it. A few things here and there, I kind of notice a few extra little touches, and the music is great, of course, but I'm not playing on an HD TV, and I think that's probably why I'm not really noticing, but I'm also not nitpicking. I'm also not, it's like I don't really care that I don't notice, because I'm just happy to have it on the PlayStation 3, even though I still have my PS2 copy. I'm just happy to have it kind of all on one disc for the PlayStation 3. And if I had a Vita, of course I would have it also, the Vita version. Actually, I don't know if I have it also or just one or the other, but eventually when I get a Vita, I probably will be triple dipping and getting this for the Vita as well, because why not? And then this game I started yesterday. Just to break up the not monotony, because they're not monotonous games. Break up the seriousness, I guess, of RPGs. Playing pretty intense with Etrian Odyssey 4 and Final Fantasy X. So to break up the seriousness, I started playing Serious Sam, the next encounter. See what I did there? Yes. This is a really, really awesome game. I love this series. It's definitely probably my favorite kind of first-person shooter. I don't know how to describe it. It's very similar to Doom, the original classic Doom, and Duke Nukem. It's very funny. It's very gory, and it's lots of weapons, lots of guns. It's just over the top, and it's just plain fun. One thing I can say about this one is this was actually a gift from Crack Lotus, and he didn't really care for this game. And but he said that he does like the original game, the HD collection on the 360. He said he played that one and liked it a lot better. I'm not sure why he didn't like this one, quite honestly. It's a little bit different seemingly. Like the levels are set up more like arena battle, kind of like where it drops you in and then it just keeps dropping enemies and dropping enemies. But the standard Serious Sam is kind of like that too, but there's a little bit more level progression. Things you're collecting, a little bit more story aspect. So I'm not sure why you didn't enjoy this game, because I think the controls are great, and it's just a really fun first-person shooter. If you haven't played any of the Serious Sam games, watch some YouTube footage or something just to get an idea of what Serious Sam is all about, because it's just a really fun first-person shooter, and I really want to get the HD collection on 360 so I can play Serious Sam 2, because I've never played that one, just the first one. But Serious Sam Next Encounter for the PlayStation 2 is a good one, and I don't know how far I am into it. I'm like 12 or 13 levels into it, and it's a blast. I love it. And then last but not least, because I continue talking, and this is a long ass video, but hey, I haven't posted a video in like 2 weeks, so who cares. There's a game another gift from Crack Lotus that I really need to play, because I really just need to get into this series. That is Half-Life for the PlayStation 2. It's a shame, as big a fan of first-person shooters as I am, that I have not played Half-Life yet, and I've never played Half-Life 2 either. I have them both now. I have the Xbox version of Half-Life 2, and I hear that it's not as good just because of the loading times and things like that, so I might just try to track down another copy of the orange box so I can have it on the 360. I used to have the orange box, but it got stolen a long time ago, so Half-Life would be the last game that I would like to play within the next 3 months or so, but who knows what will happen. And of course, I said Bioshock 2, also didn't grab it off the shelf because I didn't think about it. And of course, countless other games. In retrospect, Final Fantasy X and X-2 HD Remaster is the only 2014 release that I've bought so far this year. I don't know, there just hasn't been a whole crap ton of stuff that I've wanted that's come out, and I'm you know, taking it a little easier on the pickups. Haven't been buying as much, and which is okay. I'm perfectly fine with that. Because I have tons and tons of games, and just in the process of moving the game room down here, it's just made me realize even more exactly how many games I have. Because if you kind of take them all off the shelf and kind of stack them up on a table or something, it really was like, wow, I have this many games. So I've gone through and I've trimmed a few out, and I'm going to try and see if I can trade or sell them. I'm not really interested in making money or anything. They're not like great games, you know, just ones that it's like, well, I bought this for one reason or another. Now I'm not sure that I really care about it. So maybe I'll trade it off and get something that I do want. I don't know. That's about all I have for now, though. So thanks for watching, and thanks for bearing with me. Been pretty busy the last few weeks, and yeah, so thanks for sticking around. Doom Waves out.